Hello, Chris. This is Heather Newton, reviewing your entry in the Social Deduction Challenge, Apocalyptic Attraction. Let's first look at the top of your shop page and your hero image and everything above the fold. I think this image is really fun, intriguing, silly. It's a good background image, and then you've used this space just as the only place where you put words. So the background is the background. No matter where these words float over, it's not going to be competing with anything in the background. You have kind of a semi-bland area of the background so where the logo shows up, so nothing important like a monster's face or something is being covered up, and it all kind of comes together in a good unified way. So I think you've done a good job of using the shop page template to set up your art assets. And this looks weird and zany, and I'm curious to know what the heck is going on here. And it's a fun, interesting font and everything for your logo. And I see you have it for sale on the Game Crafter right now for $35, which is a pretty acceptable price point, especially knowing that you have some quite a few pieces packed in the box, a lot of plastic pieces. We'll see as we go down to your components. But now let's look at your cool factors here. Dexterity-based social deduction game. That's great and weird, and interesting, unique. And so these cool factors are doing a good job of pointing out what's unique about your specific game. Throw your supporters on and your rivals off with a headline here. And we've got an image embedded in the description area to give it a little bit of pop. This paragraph is maybe just a little on the long side. I might find a place to break it, and maybe I'd look for some places to put in headings to break up the what the different parts of the description are talking about. Maybe story or objective or things like that. And then you did a great gameplay video, which is not a requirement for entering the contest, but I did give a bonus point in the score sheet for doing a good how to play video, and that's exactly what this is. It really helps me as the judge or anybody considering buying a product too, to see a how to play video. Helps them quickly jump into knowing whether or not they're reading the rules correctly. It clears up a lot of confusion with reading rules that can sometimes be there in the absence of any kind of demonstration like this. So this is a good overview that's showing all the components, how they all work. It teaches the game from beginning to end, how you set up, how you score at the end, how you play, and everything. So you did a great job on that, and you got a bonus point there. And then let's look at your box. Where is your box? Small stout box. So it's great that you're able to fit everything in a small stout box. It's a nice, small, compact package that costs a little less than a big box, but it's still really sturdy. So that is great that you're able to choose components that'll fit in that box and hopefully pack a lot of fun in a relatively small box. I think that the cutout of what the edges of the box are is just not visible to me as I'm looking at this, since it's all sort of like misshapen. So it looks like one side is going to be this gray with your logo and the point of the game, and then the other side has your stats, and then the two edges have nothing. I would recommend getting probably the name of the game on every side somehow. And it's fine, to put your logo on just one side and put the stats of player count and everything on just one side. But I would get the name of the game on all sides so that it's easy for people to use as they pull it off the shelf. They could see what game it is no matter which side they face out, and it'll look nice on their shelf. Or like, for example, if it were for sale in a game store, sometimes all you can see is the side, so you want something that grabs attention of like what is apocalyptic attraction, instead of just a picture and you can't even really tell what the picture is of. If on this one, like say on the right and left side, it won't look like anything if you're just looking at it from the side. So anyway, Moving on to your action shots. I think you did a good job with these here. You have photographs of the game being played and of the, oh yeah, I can actually see right there. That's exactly what's going on. That's the one side is gray. And all the pieces laid out, pretty well lit. It's kind of a lot of shadow in the background, but I can see all the pieces in the front. And we don't have anything going on here where it's, there's words and I can't read them, or you haven't simply, uploaded random pictures from your game, but you have pictures of your game being played, what it looks like in action. That's perfect for this section. So let's now hop over to the rules and talk about those. I think it's fun that you have sort of a good background for your cover that kind of starts bringing in the theme. You put your Sporktopia brand themed icons for player time and everything. I don't know if you have different versions of this logo, but it's kind of weird that it says 30 minutes and then it has what looks like 10 minutes on a clock here. If you could get people might glance at this picture and totally blow off reading it, which I know it's 5 characters, you could read it, but if people look at the picture first and they think that the answer is there, they might not even bother reading it, and it kind of seems to be saying 10 minutes instead of 30 minutes, so maybe you could make a few different versions of that logo to use in different instances. But anyway, we've got your story on the front cover, which is a totally zany, what the heck is going on here sort of story that I think would make people laugh and, soften them to be at least willing to try the game out, even if dexterity isn't their favorite kind of game. Then we've got a good contents list where you say how many of each card or each piece there are, and you show a picture of what they look like, so it's really easy for people to identify what's what and whether or not they have everything they need when they first open up the box, and that's perfect for a components list. And then we start with the object, so that I think that's great to start at the beginning, put that at the beginning so that people have in mind what their overall goal is going to be in the game as they have that in the back of their mind as they're reading to start putting together their strategy or picturing the experience of playing the game. And then this is a good setup diagram with labeled sections. That's good. And then you're talking about a possible variant where you can't use process of elimination. You have double copies of monsters. And we go through how to play and how we set up the city and tossing and everything. And I don't think the picture is really... I think my memory of how this works is from watching the video, which I don't want to play a video inside a video, but I remember that you did something really clever with the... can we see them here? These cards? Where you have the player aid on the back of every... I think this is your monster. This is the assignment of which monster you are. On the other side of this card is your secret monster that you have to lay face down anyway, and then that doubles as a player aid, which I think is pretty cool. Good thinking there, good use of space. Some thoughts I have. So I did choose this as a finalist and am looking forward to trying it out. I think, the video, aside from giving a bonus point, it also helps me feel really sure I'll be able to teach this and picture playing it with my friends, like the people that I get to help me do the playthrough to judge it. And I can imagine it going over well and not having grumpy play testers, grumpy players. At the very least, it feels like I'll be able to teach it efficiently, and we'll be able to get through it efficiently and get the feedback without too much grumbling or things that we're getting caught up or confused about. So I'm looking forward to seeing what it's like. One concern I have about the play and how this will stack up as a social deduction game is that the dexterity feels like something that's going to really randomize the play. And maybe, maybe you entered this in the social deduction challenge just because it was close enough to social deduction and you like the game the way it is, and it being social deduction wasn't your favorite thing about it in the first place. But if you did want it to be more focused on the feeling of social deduction, I think some of we'll see after I actually play it. This is just what I'm visualizing. I think the fact that you're tossing things out onto shapes and you might miss, like people aren't going to necessarily know what you were aiming for, and some of social deduction is watching what people do and or hearing what they say and trying to decide if they're being misleading or honest. But if there's a lot of accidental randomness in where things land and that's all that's going on, I think that the fun of figuring out what people are up to is going to be diminished a little bit, or could be. I think that you could change that by adding a second action after you toss, like you toss and then you can move a card length or something like that. You can move one meeple a card length, or et cetera, where there would be like a purposeful motion that people could read into after the toss, or maybe you could only do it sometimes. I mean, without playing it, I'm not sure if I'm going like way out of bounds with the suggestion or how I actually think it would fit into the game, but that's something I thought as I was reading these rules that could potentially make it feel more strongly social deduction. And one other thing too that has given me pause about this, just again, this wouldn't really have anything to do with it winning or not in the contest or being likely to win in the end, but just the fact that there are a lot of, I guess maybe it could be something that plays in, because having a lot of cards can start to feel a little fiddly and make setup and teardown and everything take longer than it feels like it needs to, and maybe create a little bit of friction and frustration. I'm wondering if it really is super necessary to have cards that you use to lock in your opinion of what everybody is. I wonder if you could use instead just one sheet of like one score pad and have sort of check boxes for people to check, and then fold it in half, and then that would not require so much searching around through decks, and it would also, I think, reduce the cost of the product, because score pads are pretty cheap, and it would reduce how many cards you have to put in the box, I think, fairly dramatically, because then I think you'd only need the one that assigns the monster that you care about. And the jumbo deck of the city cards, and that would be all you'd need. So something to consider for maybe reducing the price and kind of making it a more approachable product for people to purchase. So anyway, again, this is a finalist. I'll be playing this and evaluating it again with the in-person play experience, and I congratulate you for making it this far and wish you luck as we continue. Hey there, thanks for watching. Be sure to check the description for more information and links to helpful resources. Some links will give me a commission if you choose to buy, and I sure do appreciate the support. Thanks again, and see you in the next video.